This AskReddit user asks, "What's the deepest Wikipedia hole you've fallen into?" I hate horror films lol. I'm a complete wimp and have been scared of the dark most of my life and have anxiety, so they just exacerbate that. Jump scares are just not my thing. So what I like to do instead is read the detailed wiki synopses of certain films so I know the whole storyline, so it's like I've seen the film lol. I can do this for hours. I love to do this. Looked up the descendants of a few early presidents. Clicking and clicking on names until I got to modern times. Also, Pocahontas. She has a lot of descendants. This was all while avoiding studying for finals. You can waste a lot of time that way. Basically any World War II article. There were so many engagements and battles in that war that every article has hyperlinks to so many other things. Hey Arnold. I wanted to know if Helga ever confessed her love for Arnold. Turns out the writers created a spin-off for Helga. Apparently the show was too dark for Nickelodeon. The show dove into her family dynamics. Her mom is an alcoholic and her dad is emotionally abusive. So it went to MTV instead. Not sure if it ever made it to air. Anyway, Helga and Arnold ended up dating for a while. Helga eventually moved. That's where the new show picked up. But they continued a loving friendship mostly as pen pals. I love how Helga's mom being an alcoholic is too dark for Nickelodeon, but Rocco working at a phone SX hotline. Zim stuffing his body with human organs. And Plankton trying to commit suicide is all considered okay. None of those other three characters are human. For a start. And it's a good bet that some of the kids watching Nickelodeon actually have alcoholic parents. Zim took the organs from humans. Zim takes the eyeballs from a kid. Different episode. A hobo-looking man with corn in a paper bag. Like alcohol. Pauses at an exit from a diner. Grabs a child and runs. And the Christmas episode. OMG. Sorry. I'll never understand why they gave the creator of a comic called Johnny the Homicidal Maniac a kids show. I'm so glad they did. My life would be hella different if they didn't. Love me some Zim. Z. Mount Everest. Then I kept reading about the amount of trash and bodies that are left there. Learning about Young Living CEO. Donald Gary Young. In the 80s. He received a $250 fine and probation for practicing medicine without a license. He offered childbirth services and claimed he could detect cancer with a blood test and treat the disease. In 2000, he opened the Young Living Life Research Clinic, where a clinic employee was charged by the Utah Attorney General for practicing medicine without a license and prescribing essential oil products to patients with various ailments. In 2005, they settled a lawsuit in which a patient claimed they were given infusions of vitamin C that caused near-fatal kidney failure. As of 2017, Young Living was reported to become one of the largest vendors of essential oil products in the USA. In 2014, the FDA issued a warning letter to the company involving their false claims and illegally marketing products unapproved by the FDA claiming they cure Ebola, autism, Parkinson's, diabetes, dementia and several other medical conditions. He stepped down in 2015 and his wife assumed the role of CEO. This company is still popular today as a multi-level marketing scheme and have been issued warnings involving their claims against the effectiveness of YL essential oils treating COVID. They claim to have over 3 million customers. While most of their sales revenue comes from Young Living sales consultants and not actual customers. Insane how these people are never in jail and are literal millionaires. You should go look at the DeVos and Prince family. There's so much ST that runs across multiple generations. Generations of those families should be in jail for all the deaths and suffering they've caused across multiple corners of society. If they all disappeared tomorrow, it would still take generations for society to recover from their actions. I've actually heavily looked into the DeVos family as they are one of the co-founders of Amway. Absolutely insane. Screwed up system. Maybe the company fed them with some amount of money. I was looking up stuff about the Kowloon walled city in Hong Kong and ended up in a page about Jewish humor. Playing the Wikipedia game. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's a game where you pick a random topic and search it. Then you pick another, completely different topic and use only hyperlinks in the Wikipedia page to get to that topic. An example might be trying to get from Ford to wormholes. I haven't actually done this one, so I don't know what the actual links would be. But for an example, sake, Ford 2, Cars 2, Metal 2, Earth 2, Space 2, Astronomy 2, Wormholes. Sometimes it takes fewer links than you'd think. Others it can take a while. It's also a great game to play with a friend to see who can find the second topic faster. Dennis Rodman's page is a good place to start. Played for the Chicago Bulls. Dated Madonna. Spent time in North Korea. Just to start. Married Carmen Electra for like 30 minutes. Yeah, Rodman is a character to say the least. I used to like to go to a random article and then click the first link within the new article. Then repeat that process to see how many links it takes to get to the philosophy article. Most articles get there, and once there you're in a loop. I ended up on linguistics and got stuck in a loop. In what language? Oh. And were you hitting links in parentheses? The way the game is supposed to work, you hit the first link that's not in parentheses because those are generally just disambiguation links rather than being about the content of the article. In English, at least, I can confirm that linguistics is in the philosophy basin of attraction. English, and I was going for the first link in the first actual paragraph of the article. Avoiding things like links to pronunciations, image captions, info boxes, etc. Doing research on the history, cooking methods and ingredients for a full Irish breakfast, which demands research into the full English, which demands research into black and white puddings and the differences in breads to be fried, etc. It was like 7 hours of reading. Look up unsolved problems in physics. You'll be stuck for hours. I can't even figure out solved problems in physics. Exactly, there's no point. It's just always approaching zero. Just start on the LDS Church and you can go for hours. Fiberglass. My best friend had a 1968 Corvette with bad damage and a fiberglass boat with a lot of damage. I learned a lot, and was able to repair both. That was fun. You are AHL of a friend. And you learned to do that from reading the Wikipedia article? Did it have side pipes? In school suspension. Got access to a computer that particular day. Nearly 8 hours of random ST. My school's ISS required you to write a page of bullshit and complete all assignments from your teachers for the day. Failure to complete everything resulted in an additional day of ISS. But most of the time you're done with all that bullshit like 2 to 3 hours into the day, and the rest of the time you were supposed to read material of your choice. But you were in these little narrow cubicle things that almost enclosed you except for the back. So you'd just FK around on your phone since the teacher would have to get right up on you and look over your shoulder to see what you were doing. I wish we got computers with internet access. I told them I had to finish a paper, which I really had to do. But what they didn't know, it was basically done and only needed to be given to the teacher for revisions and feedback. Should have watched Data Structures in 8 hours with no ads. List of crazy accidents at Disneyland. I've never been and I think I'm okay with it. Link. The list of unexplained sounds is always a good romp. Link. It's literally just icebergs. Yeah. But still. A mysterious sound called the bloop just makes me happy. All the crazy superheroes and different teams. There are so many. I did it a couple times just diving in and seeing where it took me. Oh, I've been there. Feral animal to feral child to genie to child abuse. Those were the most difficult reads. I started reading about my hometown. Segued into geology and continental cratons. 2 hours later I was jamming out to cake while reading about upper atmospheric lightning. But naturally that just lead into suborbital space flight and the development of ICBMs, anti-ballistic missiles, and the Stuxnet cyberweapon. Link surfing Wikipedia can be a pretty fun drug if you're open to it. Link. Not much more to say honestly. It's like a full list of rabbit holes to choose. A cow with antlers atop a pole. Wikipedia contains other images and articles that are similarly shocking or utterly amusing. Single quote. Well, the time I read the entire start to finish Wikipedia page about Jeffrey Dahmer. Link. All because Katy Perry referenced him in a song. Gotta go look up Katy Perry now that she was mentioned in a comment about Jeffrey Dahmer. Technically Juicy J sang the lyric. But it was a Katy Perry song. Man, you're in for a doozy once someone writes a song about BTK. Prison systems in New York and inmates who have died in prison. Some of the mysteries behind their deaths are interesting. The overpopulated prisons was also interesting. It led to so many historical facts about the prisons, which led to types of prisons and all sorts of facts. Royal family ancestry. Took me hours and hours. I went from The Office to neo-Nazism in the United States. Beats. Bears. American History X. AIDS mega interesting. A thing I used to do when bored is pick a famous historical person and try to trace their lineage through a wiki to the modern day. Or alternatively, see how far back into recorded history, legendary history it goes. I've both a lot of random facts and some interesting legends. I got stuck looking at the British royal lineage and how everyone is related to more well-known kings and queens and ended up just reading about marriages and deaths for like 4 hours. I can relate to that. Once you start to look for European royalty and how they are related, you'll spend hours of useless clicking. The expression Queen Victoria is the grandmother of Europe is very true. Both Queen Victoria of Britain and Christian IX of Denmark had a lot of children that were married off to the royalty of Europe according to custom. During World War I, every monarch in Europe, even the rulers of minor nations like Romania and Greece, were the grandchild of Victoria on one side, and Chris on the other, making them both maternal and paternal cousins. Victor Emmanuel III of Italy and Franz Joseph of Austria-Hungary being among the only exceptions. Although the latter, as a Habsburg, had a tangled family tree of his own. Both the Russian Tsar and the German Kaiser spoke English as their first language. And the Swiss press at the time called it the Cousins' War. If the British royal family gave you 4 hours of enjoyment, be prepared to set aside a week for the Habsburg lineage. Reading Robert Downey Jr.'s criminal record. I literally got tired of reading it and didn't even make it to the bottom. I'm an 80s kid, so I grew up watching him spiral down. Everyone thought he was a dead man walking, basically, but he turned that ST around somehow. Link. Airline disasters. I reread all of these about once a month. I go down that rabbit hole quite a bit. Terrifyingly fascinating. I did the same thing but with maritime disasters. Some of the ones that happened during peacetime are really tragic. Definitely serial killer Wikipedia. I used to find these super interesting. But now that I have a kid I just can't bring myself to read any of them anymore. I spent a significant time over 2014-15 reading about MH370 and trying to work out what might have happened. Same with other disappearances. Wikis of serial killers are addictive. List of people who died during performances. From actors in ancient Greek plays to guitarists dying on stage. And comedians clutching their chests as the audience laughs. The curtain falls and the camera rolls. There's video of the last guy on YouTube. Out-of-place artifacts. Very interesting. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel for more videos.